morning, Marty.
What's going on, man?
Hey, I'm excited today. We got a sports vision expert joining us today.
That's right, we do.
Dr. Daniel Laby, the world's foremost, Marty, the number one dude in the whole world. If you're an athlete, you're a business guy, and you're like, I want to see better. You got to go talk to Dr. Laby. Dr. Laby joins us from New York City.
From London?
How did you know?
I love London.
Hey, you join us first thing in the morning. You get the comments from Marty. You get the early morning accent from Marty. Let's see who's joining us in the lab this morning. Do we have anybody in the comments this morning? No, I guess Enzo's not showing up here today. So Sarvina's not here. Enzo's not here. That's all right. They're all showing up here today. Hey, so today we are here to talk about sports vision, how to take care of your eyes. Are you staring at your screen too much? Marty, we talk all the time. I love my screen, man.
Me too.
I love my screen, and we're going to have a good discussion with Dr. Laby because I'm sure he's going to tell us to put the screens down.
He's going to tell us to.
We
got to relax.
Hey, man, I had him on for a show here a few months back on my Live in the Lab show, and I confessed to him that I slept in my contact lenses.
I'm sure he tore you apart for that.
He went on a 90 seconds, almost 2 minutes, just ripped me apart, man. Like, Keith, you can't sleep. I'm like, dude, I had you come on as a guest, not to give me a heck here about sleeping in my contact lenses. I've had that awareness ever since then, Marty. Every time I lay down, I have this big vision in my head of Dr. Laby's head looking at me going, Keith, take your lenses out.
Now, what if you take a nap? Are you taking the contact lenses out? Or
So do I confess that here right now? Or should we
Dr. Laby. Dr. Laby, we need your help.
Because you know I like to have my naps, Marty. And I might confess that I don't always take my lenses out when I do have my naps.
That's hard, man, because you get busy.
Labby's, oh boy, I'm going to get a whole lick in his chops right now. Absolutely he is. We're also going to get into a conversation, Marty, later in the show. What does it take to burn off a Big Mac?
A Big Mac?
Yes, a big.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
All right, so we've moved the Big Back into the morning show, and we're going to leave Marty's sound effects for the evening.
We can use that.
We can use that. So, Nation, I want to give you a quick heads up. So, we're all wondering what the Big Back is. We build a Big Back when we accumulate bad habits over time. And then what happens over time is you accumulate this large, massive back, and perhaps a large, massive backside. That's what we talk about here in the morning show.
Man, you're hilarious.
We talk business, fitness, AI, lifestyle. So listen, those accumulative efforts going through your life will ultimately create a big back. And I don't know if you want to have a big back for your whole life. No, true. So you might want to consider different choices is what we're thinking about here, Marty.
I think that's a good idea.
Hey, Nation. So I also want to take a quick moment before we welcome Laby into the lab here. Hey, Marty, actually, he does have a show.
Labby in the lab is crazy. I love that.
I do. Maybe we spin off a segment, Laby in the lab.
Be live in the lab with Labby.
Woo, the triple L.
Labby, we're giving you some great ideas. I hope you know that.
We've dropped his name more in the first 6 minutes than we have any guest in the whole life of this whole show.
We got to pick better guests. No, I'm playing.
You know
I'm playing.
That was like the last time I had him in the lab. Hey, sorry, Doc. Got to have some fun with you here, man. You know how, Marty, how we all rush to our appointments in life? We rush to our doctor's appointment. We rush to our lawyer's appointment. We don't want to be late, do we?
Right.
Do you think doctors are late for us?
They don't care.
That's what happened last time with Dr. Laby. So we're just going to have him sitting in the green room for a longer period. Could you imagine driving an Formula One race car, how fast you have to move those eyes around? Dude.
Man.
And
that's crazy.
And you playing basketball. And I know you play D1 ball and you played with a lot of great athletes over your time. Like, do you ever think about your eyesight, Marty, when it came to playing ball? Or is that just one of those things you took for granted? Because I want to get into that conversation with Doctor today about just how I suspect you're so focused on every other part of your game, but are you thinking much about your eyes? And I think that's a difference maker, isn't it?
Yeah, I definitely took it for granted. But when you get hit in the eye, you got to play with one eye.
Problem, Marty?
No, it's tough. It's hard, especially when you're shooting. It's hard.
Of course, of course.
I've had my struggles with that.
Yeah, so Jimmy, I made a strategic decision this morning. I kept us off of IG. No Instagram Live this morning. Why? Because I woke up to a note from Adam Asari, the head of Instagram. He's like, no, we're not about live content here on the platform. Of course. He goes, no, we're all doing short. He's like, we're all doing short form. His comments were, Marty, yes, you can upload up to an hour. Yes, you can upload 15 minutes, half an hour, but we really are about short clips. We want people to share their comments and content with their friends. So we're all about the short clips, which is fine. Good morning, Starlight. Thanks for joining on the show today. We also have our accountability check-in coming up in a few moments. We also have our See Marty Fit Tip coming up in a few moments. Marty, we talked yesterday. Dr. Laby, I'll throw this question at you because you're a creator. Marty, he's got a YouTube channel, man. He's got a great YouTube channel. Yeah, absolutely. We'll pump that up a little bit later on the show here. But I'll tell you, the we had a conversation. What's the value of a creator? We talked yesterday about what's coffee, $3, $3 for a cup at Starbucks. I don't know, maybe it's $4.
$3.13 for the medium straight black coffee.
$3.13, yes.
$3.13.
So the question we asked was, are people willing to pay $1 to hang out with their favorite creator in the morning? Are people willing to spend $2 or $3 or $1 a day over 20 days is $20 a month? Yet people are spending $90 a month on their coffee. I don't know. It's interesting to me that we as humans sometimes just place no value on the people we spend time with.
So is coffee more valuable than Keith and See Marty? but no, all jokes aside, I was watching. I think it was Andy Elliott, but he was basically saying people invest in all types of things, but they won't invest in themselves. So
it's true. When you think about our aspirations here on the show is that accountability, right? We're showing up here every single day, nation. So if you want to help yourself moving forward, my thought process is come hang out with us in the morning. And that'll be your natural accountability.
Yeah.
You may have a gym membership already. And Marty, here's the thing, man. I get there's probably people listening right now with gym memberships, but they're not using. Nope. It's true. I guarantee there's plenty spending 30, 40, 50, 60, $100 a month. And the membership is sitting in their wallet or sitting on the shelf, not using it.
So I did an episode on that probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, basically saying that's like the gym business. That's their model. It's built on people not using their membership and going to the gym, just getting people to sign up. And then you got to go through 2 or 3 layers to cancel it. You can't just get online or get on the phone to cancel it. You got to come in and the manager has to be there. If the manager's not there, then you got to come another time. So that's you're feeding the gym's pockets by not going to the gym.
So what we are offering you here, Nation, is if you have that gym membership and you just struggle to activate it or use it, come tune in the morning with us. I'm suspecting the conversations we're going to have around business and fitness and AI and motivation and lifestyle and productivity is going to maybe going to encourage them to move in a direction to the gym.
Yes.
That would be something we want to offer. So if you have a gym you have a gym membership, come tune into our show. We'll help you activate it.
Yeah, you can do your cardio, listen to the show, walk on the treadmill, Stairmaster, elliptical. Even if you don't go super intense and you just getting started, you can still listen to the show.
That's it. Starlight, you have a tiny YouTube channel? Let us know. If we like it, maybe we'll tell the world about it. If we don't like it, we're not telling anybody. You know why? Because it's our show. Marty, speaking of our show, I think it's time. I think we've let the frog percolate in the boiling water long enough. No, we're not talking about Dr. Laby. No, we're not associating Dr. Laby with the frog. Nope, that's a whole different conversation. That's tomorrow's conversation.
I'm going to leave probably after 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, so you're going to join for the first little segment, and then you're going to head out, right? Awesome.
Head out, yeah.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to fly in some new hosts for the show.
We can start it off with a fit tip if you want to.
Oh, there you go.
No, I can't.
Oh, there you go.
No, I can't do the fit tip. I'll be here, but I can't do the fit tip.
There you go. There you go. Listen, without further ado, let's bring in Dr. Laby. There we go. And we're going to do this. Hey! Oh, Dr. Laby, what's going on, my friend? I'm so grateful to have you in the lab today. I had some fun last time we were on the show together. And when I invited you on, I was eager to have you back. I was so eager that I forgot yesterday was today, and today was yesterday, but we finally got you back. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, Keith. We got a lot to talk about today, buddy.
Yes.
Got a lot of material here.
Get him.
Oh, and Starlight, yes, welcome to the show, Dr. Labby. Absolutely. Doctor, you joining us from New York?
I'm in New York today. I wasn't in London. I was in Berlin.
Yes, that's right.
Nah, Chris. I got to talk to Chris Loudman.
That's it. Yeah, you got to talk to Chris Loudman for that one. So, Daniel, you came back from Germany. What were you doing in Germany on your trip over there? You were on holidays or a work trip?
A little vacation, a little bit of watching the Turkey-Netherlands quarterfinals of the Euros. Pretty amazing.
I was wondering that. I know Marty's been paying attention to that with our friend Enzo from the future there. And for you.
A lot of things. I love history. A lot of history there. A lot of art there. A lot of buildings. The food is great. The weather cleared up. It was cloudy, rainy a little bit. Then it cleared up and got sunny. And then the Euro match was the Turkish fans were rallying in the street, singing, and 100,000 people. I don't know how many people were at the stadium, but tons and tons of people. So loud I had to cover my ears not to go deaf when Turkey scored that first goal. But then Netherlands came back with 2 and ultimately won.
That's awesome. Marty, question for Labby.
I wanted to let him get into the topic before I ask a question.
Before we do that,
I have a question about the topic.
Before we do that, let's get into making the audience care. So I told the audience that you were the foremost vision expert for athletes. You're located in New York City. Now, don't knock that down, because in my point of view, you are the foremost expert on sports vision for athletes and business people around the world. We've had a lot of goats in the lab here, Marty. This might be the ultimate goat.
So I've gone from a frog to a goat. That's good. I'm progressing.
I think I have my co-host for tomorrow. So, Dr. Labby, in a minute or less, you're in the elevator with me. Tell me who Dr. Labby is in your own words, because I've given you a lot of great props here, but I want to hear from your own words. We want Nation to understand who Dr. Labby is and talk about the exceptional work that you do.
I'm an ophthalmologist, a medical doctor that's trained to take care of the eyes, and I specialize in the eyes and vision of athletes. Vision is not just what you 20/20, what you can read in the eye chart. Vision is how you take that information, use it to make a decision, and then make a motor action with your hands, your legs, in order to be successful in your sport or whatever task you're trying to do. And my job is to optimize that process to let people perform at their best.
Yeah. In the eye business.
The truth is, because I have an eye issue that I didn't know about until I started my rotation in medical school, and they looked at my eyes and said, "Oh my gosh, what's that?" And that was interesting. I need to know more about this because I want to see for the next 75, 80 years. And that sparked the interest, and I went on from there.
So it was your own issue that caused your curiosity. How old were you back then?
Probably 30, I'm going to say. Maybe a little less than that, 27, 30.
Oh, no kidding. So you were in a different path in life then. Would that be fair for you to say?
Oh, yeah. I went to medical school. I was going to be a cardiologist or an ICU doctor, internal medicine doctor, a regular general primary care type of guy. Yeah. And then got into this rotation at the very end of med school and was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Little did I know that it's actually really expansive, but I thought it was pretty tight, and I can learn a lot about it and do a little bit of surgery, a little bit of medicine, and take care of myself, my eyes.
No kidding. So that learning moment for you, in many ways, changed your life, because it was like, hey, Dr. Daniel, you have an eye issue. You're like, oh, I need to learn about that. Would you say that became your purpose when you woke up every single day, which was not only solving your own issue, but becoming this world-renowned?
I'm going to say every 4 or 5 years, I've probably an event in my life that changes the direction of where I was going. And I'm kind of used to that already, because that's happened quite a few times. And it's actually fun to anticipate it, because you never know what's going to happen until it actually happens. And the first one was that episode where I went to eye care. And then I ended up going to Los Angeles, totally by random fluke, to UCLA through the matching program. When I got there, they handed me this project that had to do with sports vision, which I had no intention of doing anything with, no interest in that whatsoever. But it was interesting when they talked to me about it, and that started a process that's gone on for 32 years already, since 1992, looking at the vision of athletes. And then working with companies gets changed over to make a new kind of vision test, which can test vision a lot better than the eye chart. And that's the process. So every few years, there's something new that comes up. So I'm eager to see what's on the horizon next.
I know I asked this in our last conversation, Doctor. What moved you in the direction of athletes like Marty and athletes like Formula One racers and people that are like, hey, my eyes are really important to me? Because as I've done my research, even before I brought you on the show, there are not a lot of Dr. Labbys in the world. So what made you wake up and go, I'm going to go focus on, if we talk about niche, you're like, I'm going to focus on athletes and their eyes. What drew you over there?
Very niche and very accidental again. It was that project that I got handed when I got to UCLA that they wanted me to finish, which was the LA Dodgers. And doing that work was interesting. And that wasn't enough to support a family. So I had to take care of kids in pediatrics, which is what I do as well. But as the years have gone, the amount of pediatrics has decreased. The amount of sports they do has increased. So now it's probably in the 80-20 split. 2 days a week I see kids. 5 days a week I'm doing athletes and other stuff like that. And when I started, there weren't many of us, and there aren't still many of us. It's certainly becoming much more popular, especially in professional teams where they hire statisticians. They're looking at ways of optimizing players, of maximizing the draft and so forth, where they want to know about the eyes. The MLB draft is coming up in a couple of weeks, and I have calls with different teams to review players before the draft. I was at the combine out in Phoenix a couple of weeks ago. We saw 200 plus pitchers and batters out there. So the information is being more people are interested in the information more than they used to be. And that means that more people go into the specialty, and hopefully it will grow.
Yeah. Marty, fascinating stuff, eh?
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to add two things. One, what you're doing now is way cooler than being a primary care physician.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no, is it cool to ask a question now, Keith?
Go for it, pal.
Okay. Continue the conversation with some of the people you work with. Brag on yourself a little bit. Sports, the teams, the players, whoever.
Yeah, I don't go too much into that, but over the period of time, I did one NHL team, the LA Kings. That was a great team. Wayne Gretzky was on the team, so I took care of him and the rest of the club back in '93. I've been in baseball since 1992. Eight World Series championships rings. In fact, if you look online, from the best I can tell, there's nobody alive that has more World Series championships than I do, which is interesting. There are some people that have passed away. Yogi Berra and others have more, but no one's alive at that point. So that's pretty cool in my mind. From a kid who couldn't play Little League baseball very well, to have that is pretty amazing. I've worked with 3 NBA teams and done a fair amount of work with, and they're all good teams, Celtics, Sixers, and Rockets. I've been to the Beijing Olympic Games with the USA team back in 2008 or so. I had a team in Tokyo last summer at the Olympics. I don't have anyone in Paris this time, but lots of college teams mixed in there, a lot of private athletes, Formula One drivers, as Keith alluded to earlier. Lots of different players. And what's interesting is they're all different. Every player is different. Every sport is different. And it's just been a really fun ride to go through these years.
I'm telling you, Marty, we have to go here, man. After I met with Dr. Labby and I just continued to do my own research, it's fascinating to me because I believe most of us human beings, we take our eyesight for granted. We just do because we see. It's just we wake up in the morning, open our eyes, we see. Then when you start talking about sports, Marty, Dr. Daniel Labby, it really starts to make your brain be curious. It's like, wow, if I can see a thousandth of a millisecond quicker than Labby on the racetrack, I'm going to beat the guy. And it's those edges, Marty, in sport. We talk about edges in sport. And when you meet a guy like Dr. Daniel Labby, you're like, yeah, this guy's going to give me that edge. I was fascinated by our last conversation, Doctor. How many teams don't call you? And we had that call. We laughed a little bit at that, which is like you said yourself, you were surprised by how many teams still, I guess we'll take it for granted in many ways, right? We're fine.
Yeah, every sport is really different. It's interesting. And we're talking at the elite level.
Yes.
You know, baseball has gotten really into statistics since Moneyball a few years back. That book came out in the movies. Everyone is really interested in statistics, trying to make predictions, models of performance, and so forth. And so in baseball, it's really spread quite a bit. That's why I do the work at the combine. All that data goes out to every club, all 30 clubs. I've worked with probably half the clubs in MLB already. Not currently half of them, but over the last few years. So baseball is pretty understood. Other sports, basketball is getting there. There are definitely things in basketball, and we can talk more about that. Something called the quiet eye, which is really important in terms of basketball shooting performance. Not to mention many other sports as well. People more interested in it. The one area that I'm really surprised and that I think we can make a big difference is in soccer/football. And here in the U.S., pretty much not known in any of the MLS teams. In Europe, there's some clubs that are doing some work in that area, but there's a lot of, and I published some papers about this in the scientific literature. There's a lot of hype out there and a lot of false information out there and a lot of people going on studies of 5 people. And those 5 people did really good, so it must be because of the training we did. And that's not very scientific at all. And unfortunately, there's a lot of that. But in European soccer football, I would have expected it to be much more aware and much more interested in doing things in that area. And maybe it's because they have this thing against Americans coming over there. I'm not sure. But it's been really hard for me to get into European football, despite having worked with Trent Alexander-Arnold from Liverpool, where there was a really nice Red Bull documentary about that project that was put out, showing the improvement that he's had, and his career path has really done well since our training 3-4 years ago. So that's the area that's surprising that it hasn't quite spread as much as I thought it would.
Interesting. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, Marty, and Dr. Daniel Labby here, mornings in the lab. We are talking about saving your eyes with the world's most awesome eye expert, Dr. Daniel Labby. Marty, Jimmy, Dr. Daniel Labby, it is time for... Yep, it's this time in the show where I freeze up and I go right here. And it's this time where we are going to get into our conversation right now about the accountability check-in. And today, nation, I am going to talk about accountability. Oh, am I ever going to talk about accountability? Today I'm talking about peanut butter. Yeah, why I tape up my peanut butter jar. It's true. I tape up the peanut butter jar because I love it a little bit too much. It's true. I love my peanut butter a bit too much that I taped up the jar. And what I learned by taping up my peanut butter jar, nation, is I learned that a public accountability works. That's why we created the show, so you guys can show up and offer your own accountability. Because no one, I'm telling you, no one cares as much as you do. No one checked up on me if I was eating my peanut butter. I kept it wrapped up so Marty knew. But nobody really cared, right? We have more resolve than we think, nation. But when you make your goals public, when you state them publicly, there's a higher chance of achieving them. Habits, they're good, bad, any kind of habit you have, they're not difficult to form. But make that mindset shift. You go all in with unbreakable commitment. You tape up that peanut butter jar. And the consistency that you desire, it's going to become second nature sooner than you think. I invite you, nation. You looking for some accountability today? State it publicly. Come on to the show. State it on the show. We'll help you achieve that goal. What's one habit you're working on? I invite you, come check out the show, Mornings in the Lab, for that accountability check-in. Every single day we rock and roll here, 7:15, 7:30, whenever we get into it. But the accountability check-in here, Mornings in the Lab, with myself, C. Marty Fit, and of course, Dr. Daniel Labby. Joining us today to talk about your vision. Good morning, Mike. Mike Quinlan's joining us with Shaking Peru. True. Thanks for joining us. Mike Quinlan, Fit Presenter, joining us from, where's he joining us from, Marty?
I don't know how to say it with a Hispanic accent.
Peru. Oh, so we got Dr. Labby offering us the comments in the private chat too about the almond butter. Dude, I have problems with all kinds of butters, whether it's nut butter, almond butter, peanut butter. It's the texture that I love, Dr. Labby. So I'm like, no, I just can't have any of those butters alone. I'm just leave them alone. So let's get into our key conversation today. Let's talk about our eyes. Dr. Daniel Labby, you know this, but I don't know if Nation knows this. Did you know that over 2.2 billion people suffer from vision impairment? And half of these losses could have been prevented. So Dr. Daniel Labby, the importance of eye health in the digital age. Let's talk about this a little bit. It's crucial for overall well-being, daily functioning, the impact of vision on quality of life and productivity. But in the last 15, 20 years, we've had this introduction of many new common vision problems caused by screen time. Let's talk about the challenge of increased screen time, the physiological effects, the rise of remote work, online classes, digital entertainment. We're all staring at our screens. Dr. Daniel Labby, let's open the conversation about how we're ruining our eyes by constantly staring at our screens.
There's lots of different aspects to this question. And I can't give you the whole topic at this point. I'll give you little pieces of it because I think that's a little nuggets that everyone can listen to and use moving forward. Screens are interesting because you think about when we were back in caveman days, we didn't have screens. We were looking at things far away. Our eyes were focused at a distance, trying to find what animals we're going to catch to have for dinner and so forth. We came back at night, sun went down, we came back to our cave at night, maybe had a fire, went to sleep, and that was the day. Nowadays, no one's outside, no one's looking far away. We go to the supermarket to pick up what we want, and we look at the screen the rest of the time to either chat or read our email or surf and so forth. And that's a problem because one of the biggest epidemics, if you will, in eye care today is the increasing amount of nearsightedness people have. Seeing good up close, but needing glasses far away. And some people feel that that's related to some of that increased screen time. Not so much the screen damaging your eyes, but you're doing a lot of near work, looking at things up close for a long time. And that up close work for a long time makes your eyes point inwards. That subtle pressure of the muscles pointing the eyes in towards the screen causes the eyes to get longer. Longer eye means you're nearsighted and you need glasses. And it's really epidemic, especially in the Far East, but even in Western countries. The amount of people that are nearsighted is skyrocketing, most likely having to do with the amount of near work they're doing and the lack of outside exposure, because some studies feel that sunlight helps negate the process of becoming nearsighted. Spending a lot of time indoors, looking at screens, or reading books. You read Harry Potter in a weekend, that's probably too much. You spend too many hours of that weekend reading Harry Potter as opposed to being outside, exercising, getting sunlight, and so forth. Not to mention the blue light part we can talk about next if you want.
So you mentioned reading. So are you equating... We're talking screens, doctor, but you're also suggesting that if we spend too much time reading words on a piece of paper close to our eyes, those same effects can happen?
Yeah, we've seen for years, decades, I've seen people that do a lot of reading tend to be more nearsighted. Think of the societies where there's a lot of reading. A lot of those people have glasses. Think of the societies where there isn't as much reading. Those people don't have as many glasses. And there's many components to becoming nearsighted. Some genetics, some using your eyes, as we've talked about. And so, absolutely, up close work is one of the drivers to becoming nearsighted.
Has the shift to remote work and online learning exacerbated this problem?
I think it's early. This is not something that happens in a day or a week or a month or even a year. This is something that takes time to accumulate. And I'm not sure, number one, we've had enough years to see that difference. And number two, the age, this is really something that's critical in kids. When you get older, 20s, 30s, 40s, it's going to have less of an impact in creating nearsightedness than it is if you're reading a whole lot at 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 years old. And so I think remote work, no one's working remotely at age 10. But I don't think we've seen it yet.
Marty.
Oh, that's great information. Man. Do you think it's going to get worse? We're only doing more remote work. We're not going backwards in technology. So you think it's going to get worse?
Yeah, I think so. First of all, I would comment that these are general trends. You can't take a trend and make it specific to one person. So is there a person out there who reads a lot and is not nearsighted? Absolutely possible, because there are lots of factors becoming nearsighted. But if you take 100 people and have them read a lot and compare it to 100 people that don't, the guys who read a lot are going to be more nearsighted than the guys who don't. And so it's important to understand when we talk about these trends, we're talking about large numbers of people that sometimes applies individually, but there's certainly going to be exceptions in the individual case that are bucking the trend, if you will. I think it's going to get worse. Our lives are becoming much more connected to screens and tablets and phones and different devices. And I think that's going to continue. It's really hard to go backwards in things if you think about it. Even think about 100 years ago, before there was any internet, before there was any screens, any tablets, anything. Life was different. Life was really different. And I'm not saying it was better or worse. I think there's differences. Hopefully, and what I saw in Berlin when I was out there in Germany and Europe, the globe is much more connected than it ever has been. I can zip out to Berlin and back 8-hour flight overnight. That's pretty good. I can get to London even faster. I went to give a lecture in Hong Kong once over a weekend. It was a little bit excessive. It was mostly flying back and forth. It was about a lecture and back out. But Hong Kong's far away. That's a long way. And then we talk about the spaceships going up with space tourists and so forth. You might be able to get over to Beijing in an hour on one of these planes, space planes in the future. So this technology is getting us much more connected, which is a positive, because that means we're closer to each other. The peoples are closer to each other. And there's less chance, I think, for countries to not understand each other and get into this big, giant world war, because all the people are connected. And it's hard to do that when everyone's connected to each other across the planet. So I think technology is moving in a good direction, but I do think technology is going to cause us to become more nearsighted.
Interesting.
I got one more key. So someone who wants to avoid being nearsighted, you mentioned sunlight. What else can they do?
Yeah, I get this question quite a bit from parents when I'm taking care of the kids. I give the kid the first pair of glasses. Oh my gosh, glasses! The kid's 5 years old. What's going to happen? And I'm looking at them, and they're wearing these big Coke bottles. And you can tell exactly what's going to happen. Look in the mirror. That's the way it works. It's genetic, in addition to lifestyle. So what I try to tell people is a balanced experience, right? As I said, reading Harry Potter over a weekend is too much. You need to be outdoors, getting physical activity, getting sunlight. You need to be doing things indoors like reading, but things maybe some total relaxation like watching TV or videos. Then you need to be creative. You need to create, whether you draw or build or so forth. If you mix it all up, you have the best chance to develop optimally your abilities and to avoid this nearsighted and other issue.
We got a comment here from William Ray joining us. What's shaking, Will? I'm honestly so surprised you don't need glasses. Will, the programmer, spends a lot of his time looking at screens. Marty, all the time, Dr. Labby talks about hydration. He's like, gotta get your water in. You gotta get your water in. You gotta get your water in. But he's talking about it for different reasons than I'm suspecting you are. Talk about the role of diet and hydration in maintaining eye health. Is it a thing, Dr. Labby? Nah. Yes.
What's in that cup?
Tea over here. No whiskey, just tea. But yeah, the hydration is important. You have to think about the eye as part of the body, right? And if your body is not functioning optimally, your eyes are not going to function optimally. People have high blood pressure, that affects their eyes. You have diabetes, it affects your eyes. You have any number of diseases. We can see that in the eyes because it damages the eyes. The eyes are extremely sensitive. The blood vessels are very small. You get high cholesterol, you block up those vessels, you get a stroke in the eye, you lose your vision there. Maximizing your own body's health is going to maximize your vision into the future. And people, not to degrade any other sense, but vision is probably the most important sense. I think if you ask people what they would hate to give up, maybe smell I wouldn't mind giving up. There's a lot of bad smells I have and only a couple of good smells I get. But vision I definitely am not giving up. And that's not because I'm an eye doctor. And so you want to protect the vision. Protecting the vision means protecting your body and your health. And hydration is one of the key pieces in that puzzle. That's why I have so much to drink right here. I'd rather go to the bathroom and get rid of the water and have it just pass right through. We go to spring training, and on the urinals in spring training, especially in Phoenix, in Arizona, they often have this color chart of your pee, and you match the color to see if you're dehydrated or not. Because lots of people, athletes, obviously out in Arizona, it's hot out there, especially today, are out there running around, and they're going to get dehydrated. And if you go in the bathroom and you pee, and it's the color of this dark amber, they say danger. You better drink a whole lot more. I want to pee clear white all the time. And I try to drink enough to get to that point, let my kidneys work, let my body flush out everything, keep things as healthy as possible for the body, but also for the eyes.
We don't often talk about hydration with eyesight, Dr. Labby. Or I would say that society or culture doesn't speak about it enough. We're always talking about hydration for every other reason. Yet what I'm hearing you say is if you're reading a lot or you're spending time on your screens, make sure you get your water.
Certainly if you're dehydrated, that's going to affect your vision. It takes a lot of dehydration to really affect your vision on the short term, but I'm looking more long term. Peter Attia talks about medicine 3.0 as opposed to medicine 2.0. And I'm looking at ways to optimize function, avoid disease, keep your eyes working 100% through your entire life. And hydration and keeping your body in perfect shape is one of the factors that's going to let that happen. If you don't take care of your body, too much sugar, and that's why I said almond butter earlier than peanut butter. Because most peanut butter's first ingredient is sugar. You definitely don't want to eat all that sugar. If you get peanut butter that's just peanuts, that's great. But lots of times, if you look at Skippy and so forth, sugar is up there. You want to keep the weight down. You want to, all the different things of general health. You want to, overall health, that will keep your eyes healthy. So I'm not going to tell anybody drink a lot of water so you don't get nearsighted. There's no connection there. But drink a lot of water, keep your body healthy, will keep your eyes working perfectly longer than usual.
Dr. Laby, are blue light filters as effective as they are marketed to be, or are they the most snake oil situation being peddled on the internet these days?
I'll give you a yes with a star. Our brains, and our eyes, part of the brain, are sensitive to blue light because when we were out catching those animals out in the field in the prehistoric times, the sky was blue. Think about where man came from in Africa. Blue sky out there hunting, that told our brain, it's daylight, you got to be alert, you got to be awake, you got to go do your work. Come into the cave at night, the sun's gone down, no more blue light. Your brain says, oh, no more blue light, this must be time to go to sleep. It must be sleep time. And you went to sleep. So here's the problem. That was great until we got these screens. Now we have these screens that put out these wonderful pictures with all kinds of colors, but those colors include blue. And when we look at that screen after sundown, now our brain is getting the signal, it's still daytime, it's blue. Therefore, don't get ready to go to sleep. Don't get all the melatonin working and all the brains getting ready for a nice, efficient sleep. We talked about health. Having good sleep is one of the pillars of good health. And if you don't get good sleep because your brain thinks it's daytime all the time because you're looking at a blue screen, that's not going to be very good for you in the long term. And so the blue light blocking glasses, you can wear those, but if you wear them all day, now you're really messing your brain up because now your brain never gets blue light and your brain thinks it's nighttime the whole time. So you want to have the blue light during the day. You don't want the blue light after sunset. So if you want to wear your blue light glasses after sunset when you're looking at your screens, That's perfectly fine. You can spend money to do that. Or you can just go into a setting on your computer and say night shift, and it will take that blue out of the screen, and you'll have a pinker screen, a redder screen, because there's no blue, and you won't have the effect.
Do you yourself wear blue light blocking glasses?
No, I have night shift on my devices. So when it gets to be sunset, the computer or the phone or the tablet knows when sunset is, where I'm located, and it starts taking out blue light at sunset, so that if I'm looking at my screen at 10 or 11 at night, I have a very pink screen, a rosy screen, as opposed to a normal looking screen.
So you are one of those dudes that do that then. You do use night shift on your devices, because I don't like it. I don't like how it looks. I don't like how, but you're saying, Keith, use it.
Your choice is, you have two choices. One, don't look at your phone at night. Number two, get blue light blocking glasses, keep your screen the way it is. You don't want that blue light after sunset, because that's going to signal to your brain it's still daylight, and not get ready for sleep, which is not what you want to do.
I thought when people say put your phone down at night, like, yeah, get in the cold plunge. I'm not looking at my phone at night, but now I'm learning the science behind it.
Yeah, cold plunge has a lot of science behind it too.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't do cold plunge. I don't like cold pools.
I'm suspecting we're going to have to do a show with Keith, Dr. Labby, and Marty getting into a cold plunge with blue light glasses on.
There's going to be a lot of cost to that one, Keith. That's not a freebie.
That'd be pretty entertaining. We are having a conversation with Dr. Daniel Labby right now, and Will, you said you asked how you have your devices set up, and it looks like a fit presenter is, the art of actor of Great Rebellion is Dr. Mike doesn't have a cell phone. Good for you, my friend. So we're going to continue. We're going to start wrapping up the main conversation here, because as you guys know, if you tuned in with myself and Dr. Labby before, we can talk forever. There's lots that go in with making sure we're taking care of our eyes. We're giving our listeners a lot of information. Give them a nugget, 90 seconds or less, a minute or less, Dr. Labby. As they're starting their day, they're listening to us talk right now. We're talking hydration, we're talking blue light, we're talking put your phone down. They're going, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. Dr. Labby, give them something today that they can hang on when they leave our conversation today that they can take throughout their day.
So I'm thinking I'm going to move from health to performance, because I think that's what I've been doing for a long time. I think performance is interesting. And I think the key sentence here, and we'll go into a little more detail in a moment, is what happens is based on what you're looking at. If you're shooting a basket, if you're looking at the rim properly, the ball is likely to go in. If you're looking off to the side and you're shooting the basket, it's not going to likely go into the basket. And so what you're looking at is where you go, is where your hands go, where your brain goes. And that brings up this concept of the quiet eye. People can find it online, QUIET, quiet eye, EYE. Mm-hmm. It's something that I think has really been helpful in a lot of sports. Certainly in basketball, we published with the Sixers an article about that. We been doing baseball for batters, for pitchers. We did it in football with Trent. What you're looking at is critical. So even if you're a weekend golfer, this is a tip that's going to take off a couple of strokes from your game and is going to help lower your handicap. Let's say you're putting and you have the ball on the green and the putter comes back and the putter hits the ball and it takes off towards the green. What you look at and when you look at it is critical. It's critical to performance there. So you don't want to, the moment the putter hits the ball, take a look to see where the ball goes. You want to keep that point of contact where the putter hits the ball, fixation, looking at that point, even after the ball is gone, at least for half a second or so. And that's going to increase your chance of success in putting. If you're taking a shot in basketball, looking at the rim before, during, and after you release the ball for about half a second is going to increase your chance of getting success in that.
Really?
For example, if we look at the NBA, guys who got 30 out of 30 free throws have very tight. All the time they're looking at the same spot. Guys who got 16 out of 30 free throws, looking all over the backboard, all over the rim, not having consistent looking at the same spot. So that's the key there. If you're driving a car and you want to drive the car to a certain spot, you have to look at that spot in order to bring the car there, right? Otherwise, you're not going to get there. Whatever you're doing, if you're going to pick up something, a cup, make sure you're looking at that cup handle as you move your hand towards picking it up for a little bit of time until you actually grasp the cup. Otherwise, you're likely to knock it over. You're going to miss if you just, it's over there. I'll look over there and I'll go over to another point after that. You want to give that your brain time to fix on what you're looking at, to make that motor action, to make the action proper.
It's so simple, yet so
neglected.
That's the word I'm looking for. Yes, because I'm looking at Marty, because Marty played D1 basketball, and that's where he's made his name. And I'm thinking to myself, Marty, when you're standing at the basketball net, that 3-point shot, Like just hearing doctor talk about how specific you're having to be when you take that shot, right? And being mindful of your focus. Marty, when you hear him speak, do you think about the things he's talking about, or you just go shoot the ball?
No, I definitely think about it. I got yelled at so many times for trying to run down the court after the shooting the shot thinking I'm Steph Curry. That definitely makes sense.
And Steph does a lot of vision work.
I bet. And then even if I'm like in a house and I try to grab a cup, I'll do that. I'll look at it, turn my head, try to grab it, and spill the cup. That actually makes sense.
Here's another piece. This is actually a good one.
Yeah.
If the audience wants to do something to really improve their visual function, it's not going to make the vision sharper. It's going to improve how you use your eyes with your body and your brain. Learn to juggle. Juggling is an incredibly good way to learn hand-eye coordination, concentration, vision tracking, peripheral vision, lots of different pieces that you need to use your eyes for to perform well no matter what you do is brought out by juggling.
Juggle. So if you're looking to improve your eyesight, nation, pick up 3 balls and start juggling them around.
Remember, not eyesight, not sharpness of vision. We're talking about function, use of the eyes. Very important, Keith.
Oh yes. Okay. But the thing is, you're focusing your eyes on that whole. Like there's a lot happening there when you're juggling, and you're saying though that when you're juggling, that your eyes are getting as much of the workout as anything is.
Oh, for sure. Your eyes are dumb. It's your brain. It's the vision part of your brain that's getting the workout, right?
Yes.
Your eyes are just cameras, but that signal goes back to your brain, and majority of your brain is connected to vision one way or another, and that's what you're really stimulating. All those connections between thinking about last ball, where it went, where this ball's going to go, how much force you threw it up with, how good you are in moving, where should you put your hands, how distracted you are. All those different pieces have to do with vision one way or another.
Producer Keith?
Only just 2 balls, Marty.
You're an expert.
Producer Jimmy, we're going to call it a little audible here. Exactly. We are going to wrap up our chat with Dr. Labby here in a moment here. We're going to bring it to an end, and then we're going to walk Dr. Labby out of the door, and then we're going to come back, go into a little bit of overtime today. We're going to see Marty fit tip, and then I really want to make sure we talk about the subject of how long it takes to burn off a Big Mac. But we're going to continue the chat with Dr. Labby. He's got to go here in a few moments, and then Marty, we'll continue for a few minutes. Just go overtime. We'll talk about the Big Mac conversation as well as the C-Fit tip of the day. But Dr. Labby, you just made a comment about our eyes being cameras. And Marty started the conversation at the beginning of our topic, the main topic about, is this going to get worse before it gets better? And you know that we've got headsets coming, spatial computing's coming, and then you just said the 2 words. You said the words that our eyes are actually cameras. Our eyes are really the last analog device on our body. This is a really goofy statement, but it's this analog device in our body that's ripe for technological innovation, isn't it, Doctor? Because what we're seeing with technology and biotech, it's just ripe to make our eyes actually cameras, isn't it? And it's hard, I'm sure, for you to not see the future where there's that melding of technology and eyes and us being bionic, right?
I was a computer science major in college before I went to med school, so I've been in computers for a long time. I will tell you that every week or so, I learn another piece about the eyes I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
That shows me that it's going to be a long time before we can put together a mechanical system, electrical, mechanical, optical system that's going to match what our eyes can do.
Really?
The eyeballs themselves, we think about the retina, the optic nerve, not to mention any brain part, just about the eyes itself.
Yes.
The range, dynamic range of what we kind of light, different kind of light we can adapt to, from really bright light to really dark light, or no light, if you think about it. The fact that we have these cones which are color sensitive and need more light, and they're really sharp, but we have rods that are black and white and are very sensitive to light. So when we, for example, if you wake up at night and go to the bathroom and your room is dark, your house is dark, you might recognize that everything is black and white that you're seeing. But then you flip the light on, everything's in color. And that's because the rods are sensitive to low light. The cones aren't. So you're getting no color pictures. All you get is the black and white part. And everything looks black and white, not because it's really dark, because those are the only cells that are active. To create a system, biomechanical system to cover all of that, not to mention many other pieces, is going to be incredibly difficult. And I think even the artificial retinas that people have developed to this point are really gross in terms of sharpness and so forth. So I think it's going to be a long time. I think we have a better chance of using techniques, and people have done this already, with brain stimulation, whether it's with a magnet or electricity, to improve the functioning of the brain. For example, there's something, and I didn't mention this before. I have to throw this in there. I didn't talk about my book.
Yes, please. I the champion, Dr. Daniel Laby. Yes.
In the book there, we talk about something called stochastic resonance. And this is actually a pretty cool idea. And this is where the brain stimulation plays a role. And I'm going to try to find the picture here, if I can find it quickly. The idea being that you write so much, you forget where it is. I'm not sure if the audience can see this, but we have a flag over here. And you have on the part near the crease, you have a regular flag, and you see that it gets darker and darker until the very side near my head.
Yes.
And that's black. And what we're doing there is adding random dots, random black dots. And you can see that when you have a very light picture, if you add more random dots, you can actually see the flag. If you add too much, it gets black altogether and you can't see anything. But that's the way our brains work. In fact, our eyes work. If we're able to actually stimulate and bring closer to the firing threshold of these cells, then we can see better. So if you have something that you can't see very well, you can add random noise and all of a sudden you can see it, as long as you don't add too much random noise. And actually, this is a technique that's used in signal intelligence for spying and radio waves all the time.
Yeah.
If you do this in vision, you can do it as well. And people can do that by putting little electrodes or magnets on the side of the head to stimulate. And so I think for our biotechnology for vision, it's going to be the vision parts of the brain as opposed to trying to replace the eyes.
That's wow. That's fascinating stuff to me. The eyes, the last conversation we had, Dr. Knuckles released their Vision Pro, and we talked about retina displays, what we can and cannot see. And when you were showing me that flag example, I can only think about when I think about pixel density displays, or because it's the same thing, right? What you're seeing and what you can't see based on what your eyes are computing in the head. That's really fascinating to me.
Absolutely. And you have to bring it to the threshold so your brain realizes it's there before you can make a decision about it. If it's sub-threshold, you never saw it.
Yeah. Marty, we're going to wrap up our conversation. As you can see, we clearly can have Dr. Laby back for many chats around this topic. I know you have to rock and roll. We're going to continue our conversation here to talk about the caloric impact of what it takes to burn off a Big Mac, as well as to see Marty Fit Tip. But before we do that, let's let it give you a chance to say goodbye and wrap up. How can people find you? Please plug your YouTube channel. Please plug the book, and please let people know how they can get a hold of Dr. Daniel Laby.
First off, I want to make sure that we understand I was here early, not late this time. Yeah, thanks. It's a pleasure to speak with you, both of you. I love speaking about the eyes, as you probably realize, and we can talk for hours and hours because there's an incredible amount of fascinating things. There's new discoveries, new things. I had a call yesterday with a company that we worked on spring training with some data that is showing a difference between D1, between normals and professional baseball players, that we can use that information to help select players who's going to perform better. So there's a lot of fascinating eye stuff out there. Technology is rolling on, as you say. If we can leverage that technology to improve people's lives, then we're doing the right thing. That's what I try to do in the book, the Eye of the Champion book that we put out in, I guess it was March this year on Amazon. It's in all the different forms on Amazon, Eye of the Champion. I have the YouTube channel, Sports Vision by Dr. Laby. Some Medium stuff, website, just have to Google. Actually got a Wikipedia page now about me too.
Nice.
So that's interesting. But just if you put my name in there, you'll find me somewhere or another. Some of it, my name, Sports Vision, it will come up with all sorts of connections. And there's places there. If someone wants to get in touch with me, they can send me a note. And I try to respond to everything. Some people I can help more directly than others. I'm happy to try my best.
Yeah, exceptional. Marty.
Oh, great information. Thank you for joining. And it was great to meet you.
Nice
And
to
it's
meet you.
great to see someone give Keith a hard time. And I'm not the only guy that does it. But definitely appreciate your time.
My pleasure. If you want to go back to basketball, we can help you.
I think my days are over. But maybe if I get a men's league or something, I'll talk to you.
There we go.
Dr. Daniel Laby, I'm full of gratitude for you joining us today. I don't want to make you late for your next appointment, so please come back and see us again. A lot of fun with you, man. I'm a huge fan of yours. I think you know that, and you are welcome here anytime. If you want to come back, hang out, have coffee with us, talk about your book, talk about more sports vision, please come back, my friend. You are absolutely, one of the greatest of all time, for sure you are. Not the frog, definitely the goat, Dr. Laby.
There we go. Good. Very good. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Take care, pal. I'll see you soon, okay?
Bye.
All right. Dr. Laby joining us here in the lab this morning. That is, Marty, I could talk about that for hours, man. It fascinates me, right? Because we take it for granted. We just take our eyes for granted. And yet you have some fellow who wakes up every single day trying to help people see better and perform better. So I invite everybody to check out his YouTube channel, check out the book, find Dr. Labby online and so forth. But we're going to go into a few minutes of overtime here on the show because we got 2 topics to get into. But Marty, why don't we do this one first? And we're going to do, that is it. We're going to stretch it into a second hour here, nation. We're going to get to the See Marty Fit Tip.
I'm ready. Let's get it. All right. We got the fitness tip for today. Let's check it out. Your relationship with food impacts your fitness goals. Let's talk about it. Your relationship with food is crucial when you're on a fitness journey. It's about balance, not extremes. And when they say balance, they're not saying 50% eat whatever you want, 50% eat clean either. But that's another topic for another day. Let's get into it. Here are a few suggestions. Respect your body. Nourish it with foods that fuel your goals, not hinder them. Mindful eating. Pay attention to what and why you're eating. Enjoy your meals without distractions. Focus on quality over quantity. Focus on nutrient-dense foods. They keep you full and energized longer. Consistency. It's about long-term habits, not short-term diets. Find a sustainable eating pattern that works for you. And you know how this is true? Think about anybody you know that did a short-term diet. I'm not going to name any of them today because I'm going to be nice. But are they still down 30 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever they lost, or did they gain the weight back and now they're trying a new short-term diet or the new fad diet? Really think about it. No guilt. Don't punish yourself for indulging. Learn from it and then get back on track with your next meal. You're going to mess up. Sometimes you're going to eat the cookie, the cake, the ice cream, the drink. We're human. It's cool. Don't stress about it. Get back in the gym the next day. Get back to eating clean. Get back on your routine. That's why habits are important. Food is a tool to help you reach your goals. Use it wisely. That's the fitness tip for today.
See Marty Fit Tip of the day. We bring it to you every single day here. Mornings in the Lab with Keith See Marty Fit. Today we wrapped up our conversation with Dr. Daniel Laby. We're going into a few minutes of overtime today because we want to talk about one very important topic. Marty, how long does it take to burn off a Big Mac? Now, I know that we aren't here to promote Big Macs in the lab. I know we aren't here about promoting and talking about quarter pound. No. None of those things. However, Marty, we both know the reality is we have a lot of our listeners, a lot of people of the show like, oh, I'm going to drive down the street and pop in to grab myself a Big Mac or a quarter pounder. But did you know, and I know you know this, Marty, but does Nation know that it takes about 2 hours of brisk walking to burn off one single Big Mac, which packs 590 calories? Let's dive into this daily workout routine and how you can make better choices for your health. Marty, 590 calories, man, in a Big Mac. Thoughts on that?
That's insane. If you get a clean meal with some nutrient-dense foods, like I literally just mentioned on the fitness tip, let's say you take chicken breasts, string beans, and rice. Depending on the portion size, you're looking at a 400-calorie meal. So you're getting a 400-calorie meal with you getting the protein, you're getting some good carbs, you got some fiber from the vegetables. You're telling me that's 200 calories less than a Big Mac, not to mention the fries and the soda. It's really insane when you break down the numbers. And honestly, man, a 2-hour brisk walk, I feel like it's longer than that to burn that, if you really think about it. Because if you run a mile as fast as you can, you're probably burning 100 calories maybe.
Yeah.
So you'd have to do that almost 6 times. I think a brisk walk would have to be longer than 2 hours. But hey, that's ridiculous. It's not worth it, honestly, if you have a fitness goal.
And if you think about it, Marty, the average woman needs about 2,000 calories per day. Average male around 2,500 calories per day. So let's go crush a Big Mac. It's high in fats, sugars, and carbs. So I'm allotted 2,000 to 2,500 a day. And in one fell swoop of a stop in at the McDonald's, I got 600 calories in the bank.
Just the Big Mac.
Just the Big Mac. We haven't added the fries. We haven't added drinks. We're talking stats here. So brisk walking at a pace of 4 miles per hour burns about 140 calories per 30 minutes for a 155-pound person. So the reality is, Nation, if you're crushing that Big Mac, the walk's still not going to do it for you. It's going to take you approximately 2 hours, and then you're going to be hungry, and you're probably going to want to go and maybe crush that Big Mac again. So here's some other options, though, right? If you go running, you're going to burn approximately 100 calories per mile. You go for a cycle, you're going to burn about 500 calories per hour. Swimming burns around 700 calories per hour. So, Marty, it takes how long to crush a Big Mac? 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes max?
Yeah, probably. Some people probably less than that. Some people probably 30 seconds.
Yeah, so 30 seconds, 30 minutes to chuck 600 calories in your body to go for a 2-hour walk to burn it off. Yeah, that's a good use of time.
Not worth it.
I don't know if it is. So the calorie content of a Big Mac requires substantial physical activity to burn off, highlighting the importance of understanding what we consume. Running burns approximately 100 calories. To burn off Big Mac, you need to run around 5.9 miles. Hear me again. To burn off a Big Mac, you're going to need to run about almost 6 miles, Marty.
That's crazy. That's literally what I just said. That's crazy if you think about it.
Like
that's
6
insane.
miles, man. You got to go for 6 miles to burn off the Big Mac.
6 miles.
Let's think about this. High intensity training can burn a significant number of calories in a shorter amount of time. However, think about all the high intensity training you have to do to burn off those 600 calories. You can do jumping jacks. How many people love to do burpees, high knees, mountain climbers? You can do treadmill sprints. You can do cycling interviews, rowing machine bursts.
You know what, Keith? And I tell people all the time, this phrase, I'm just going to go burn it off. You're not burning anything off. You're not. There's no way. Most people don't burn 600 calories in a workout. You got your hour window to work out. You're more than likely, unless you're just going crazy every day. I don't even know if I burn 600 calories in an hour every workout. There's no such thing as burn it off. It's really not worth it.
It's the old adage, isn't it, Marty? You can't outrun a bad diet. Exactly.
And then I talk about this stuff a lot on my podcast. People say calories in versus calories out doesn't matter. But this is a prime example right here. This is a simple example. This is a Big Mac. People eat way more than this throughout the day. So you can't deny the science. You can't.
So let's wrap up our point of this conversation. Nation, you're considering going for that Big Mac today, the quarter pounder with cheese today. You're wanting to be held accountable. We're going to offer you something to consider. Consider some nutrient-dense foods. I know we all don't love our vegetables, but try to find a way to love perhaps a vegetable, right, Marty? Start with one, right? Get to those fruits. Get to those lean proteins, legumes, beans, whole grains to complement your exercise routine. But more importantly, Marty, we talk about this all the time. Be prepared. I believe if you're planned, you're not making bad choices of eating. The more prepared you are, the less bad choices you'll make when it comes to eating.
I agree. Right.
Avoid those high calorie, low nutrient foods. Yeah, you're going to feel great. It's going to take you 30 seconds, a minute to crush that Big Mac. You're going to feel awesome for probably 3 or 4 minutes after that. And then you're going to recognize how guilty you feel after you've crushed the Big Mac. And then, Marty, you're going to go to I'm going to say it. Gentlemen, I'm going to say it. Ladies, close your ears. Gents, you're all going to head to the bathroom because you rented the Big Mac. So you stopped in, you fed your belly, you rented it. You're not feeling any better. Where's the positive in any of this, Marty?
There's literally no positive, man. No, there's zero positive.
So I'm not trying to beat up on you because listen, man, I've been there. Marty, I'm going to relate. I'm going to relate to our audience. I've been there. I got to go quarter pounder with cheese. And then I go through that entire thing, right? I crush it. I eat it. I go to the bathroom. I feel guilty. And then I say to myself, what the hell did I do that for?
You're right.
It happens. And I appreciate the silence because there's actually nothing to say to it.
Because there's nothing to say.
No, there isn't. There's nothing to say to it. And I often joke, and I'm going to use the bad word here, but it's like when I'm driving to McDonald's, I'm driving to go get fat. Listen, I know McDonald's, we're looking for
big
sponsors.
back activity.
I know we're looking for sponsors, Marty, but I don't know if McDonald's fits the profile of our sponsor. And we're not trying to diss McDonald's. We're just trying to call the attention of Because listen, there are choices. You can go to McDonald's and go have the Big Mac, go strip it out, just have the meat. If you want to go have yourself a high protein meal, go buy the Big Mac, but take everything else off and just eat the meat. There you go, Marty.
I was going to say, I don't think McDonald's is offended by that. They know what they're putting out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
They know what they're putting out.
But I will tell you, I was at the McDonald's here a couple weeks back to grab some stuff for a birthday party, and I had a young lady show up next to me, and she said, "Yeah, I'd like to get 2 quarter pounders of cheese with no bun," because I just wanted the meat. I looked at her, I'm like, "Oh, good for you." So she chose the protein. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to McDonald's, but and it might not have been the best meat choice, but Marty, it still was a better decision than the entire Big Mac."
I can agree with that.
So in wrapping up the point, nation, you have that choice, right? Today, as you go throughout your day, maybe you consider getting yourself something prepared before you have to make that decision at lunchtime or that decision at dinner time, that decision that you're probably going to regret. So go crush the Big Mac. It's 600 calories, but just know you ain't going to outrun the bad diet. You're not going to walk it off. You're not going to train it off. And you're not going to burn it off. You might want to consider some different choices. And or we also talk about this, Marty. We're not all about 100%, right? Be consistent 80, 90% of the time. And if you want to go crush that Big Mac, life's too short, some would say. So, but the goal here is 90% of the time you're not crushing Big Macs. That's the plan. 99. Marty, we had another show in the wrapper today, my friend. It was an enjoyable one. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation with Dr. Laby, man. He is absolutely a goat. The guy knows his stuff. Like, the guy is, if you are an athlete or a business guy that wants to get better eyesight, you got to go knock on Dr. Laby's door.
Oh, yeah.
Except
I think we all need to learn this stuff and learn how our habits affect our eyes and even down to our hydration. So that was great. That was great stuff.
It was, yeah. And Will jumps in with, they aren't even the cheap option. No, you're right. Big Macs aren't the cheap option anymore. It's true.
That is true. That's true.
You know, Big Macs aren't inexpensive. So not only are you hitting your wallet with a lot of money coming out of the wallet, but you're hitting your belly. There's actually not much positivity with crushing that Big Mac to the bottom line.
And that girl, if she just wanted the meat, like the patties, she could have just gone to the grocery store and got some ground beef patties for probably the same price. You probably could have got like 4 packs.
There you go. There you go. So, Nation, we're going to wrap up our show today. We went into overtime. Jimmy went into overtime. We are working on adding extra time to the show because, as you guys can see, when we have great guests, we tend to weave our way through the conversation, add extra time to the dialogue. And we're very appreciative you guys continue to tune in and join in the show here today. So you'll find us every single day, Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. We're here to talk business. We're here to talk fitness. We're here to talk accountability. We're here to talk AI. We're here to talk lifestyle. Most importantly, Marty, we're here to help you get your day started, get your day going, and move yourself through your day with great guests and great conversation.
Absolutely. Hey, this is fun. This might be the top 3, top 5.
I won't argue with you there, man. And I know it goes back to guests. And I know I like to not say it too often, too loud on the air, but I have favorites along the way, favorite guests. Like Dr. Laby was without a doubt one of my favorites, man. The guy's he's full of knowledge.
Can't do that. Every guest is equal.
Sorry. Oh, we're all getting gold medals?
Every guest is an honor roll.
All right, on that note, we're just gonna get out of here. We're gonna let you guys get on with your day. We're gonna get on with our day. I'm gonna go. It's Wednesday. It's rest and recovery day for me, Marty. So I got my 30-minute yoga, and I'm gonna go for a walk today. No, I'm not burning off Big Mac, but I'm gonna go for a nice walk today. Gonna connect with the OGG today. Gonna continue planning next week. Keith and Marty are here in the lab in person next week, so you guys are gonna enjoy those shows. We're gonna be planning next week's shows as well. So Marty, you have yourself an awesome day, pal.
You too.
We'll talk to you throughout.
I'll talk to you.
You betcha, pal. You have yourself a good one. We'll see you guys a little bit later. Ciao.